So welcome to the Bite-Sized Trust Task Force, and reminder that we're part of, oh, shoot, all members should be all participating members should have signed the antitrust policies and be members of Trust over IP, which we are, and are to stick to the agenda, and the agenda is continuing work on the Bite-Sized Trust videos.
Sounds good. So I hope to have some time to work on the governance. I've been working on other things to deal with, but I don't know, it's gonna happen at some point, obviously. But it's gonna happen based on other things that are going on, so.
Yeah, that's not a problem. That's not a problem. So I created the next 5 videos, getting faster at this.
Wow. Wow.
I get fat once I have the PowerPoint kind of language figured out, then it's very easy to just shuffle parts around in order to tell the similar kinds of stories. So once I have the PowerPoint language sorted out, it goes a lot quicker.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, but the one thing is I was kind of for like the authentication and assertion, all of these videos are short. They're like 1:30-ish. But the less complicated ones, like authentication and stuff like that, they have only like one slide that I just keep up the whole time. And well, there's a voiceover, and I thought to try that out to see, because it's a simple story to begin with, and then you, rather than flash 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 to step it through, it just has the parts there. Let me see. I shared it I put all the links up on Discord.
Okay.
So I had Drummond gave me some feedback, and I'm going to make those changes to the recordings for the keys one. That's the one he commented on. And then let's see here. So I'll show. I'm gonna go to YouTube. I'm gonna pull up the site, and then I'll get your opinion on that. And then if we, share application windows and share the sound. Okay. So here's the authentication keys of DID.
Decentralized identifiers, or DIDs, are special identifiers that resolve to DID documents. Each DID document contains information about the subject of the DID, including authentication keys. Authentication keys let you prove who you are when accessing a service. Imagine Alice logging into an email or work server, but instead of typing a password, she demonstrates control of a private key that pairs with the public key listed in her DID document. The service checks her public key, and she proves she holds the matching private key, and that authenticates her identity with the service. Authentication keys are a cornerstone of how DIDs enable secure, verifiable identity. They allow a DID subject to interact with services directly while maintaining cryptographic proof of control. This is what makes DIDs so powerful. They combine decentralization, security, and flexibility, giving users control over how their identities are used, whether directly or through trusted delegates.
So that's just
the only, and everything you said was true. The only point I would make is that if Alice does not control her private key, then someone can be Alice.
right.
That's the only point that I would add, so people don't realize it's something that she knows, or she's something that she possesses, or something that she controls. That's the best word, actually. Something that
Well-
she can, something that you think Alice has controls it. Now, if someone else, and that's it's a big issue in cryptography is the control of the private key. And if they don't, if someone has their, and that's how you know, at the end of the day, that's how things break down. You know, that's the whole issue around, you know, the cryptocurrency and this and that, and people trying to get access to private keys. So
Yeah,
at the end of the day, maybe that's a bite-sized trust, is control of the
Yeah.
private key.
yeah, I think that's I think that would be a good video, like security concerns or whatever, or I wanted to do one about wallets.
Well, there's 2 points. That's true. We could do, you could do the two main points in cryptography. You know, two main security risk is control of the private key and the body of the assertion. So that's always the two things that I have to explain people to. You can assert a lie and have all the cryptographic properties associated with asserting a lie.
Right,
You know?
right,
I
Right.
I can say, I can make it, or you can make a statement, you have blonde hair or you don't,
yeah,
and you can assert it and we know it came from you, you're controlling the private key,
right.
but the body of the assertion that you're making is not, and that's where governance comes in. That's where
Yes.
governance, you have to have processes to verify the body of the assertion.
I've lost you. I went to share this screen and I can't.
Okay, well,
see.
I'm seeing a screen, scripts for fact checking.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. So in the scripts that I have ready for video generation, actually, I just completed them. Well, so I'm gonna finish editing. Drummond wanted these two changes. So for one script, then it's easy for me to,
Right, I saw the broadcasting sending, I saw
yeah,
that.
yeah. And then I've got keys and DIDs, authentication keys, assertion keys, agreement keys. And then I go into detail. So those those videos are ready to go.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna re-record the voice for Pat for the one that the assertion keys, authentication keys, sorry. The one that Drummond had talked about. Yes, this one here. I'm gonna passwords and keys, sorry. So I'm gonna change that script. And then I had started on a whole other set of the next set of scripts. And your comment about that one of the security concerns is that the key. So I have key pre-rotation. I
well, I'm
could stick
confused
in that.
between scripts for fact checking. Is that
Yeah.
a topic or is that just a note?
That's the heading. So all the scripts underneath that heading.
Okay.
So I've got the heading of scripts these are all the ongoing ones that aren't yet published. And then I have so scripts for fact checking. So they've been written and now they need their fact to be checked. And your statement here about your identity could be at risk. And yours so here it would be meaning that someone could impersonate you online.
Yeah, I'm there's a dissonance between fact checking and key pre-rotation.
No. This is key rotation is the script. And this script is ready to be fact checked.
Okay,
got-
that's just
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
was checking.
And then
on.
I've got
I was
scripts that
fact
are
checking that. Okay.
yeah, okay. Then I've got scripts that are still being written. And then I have scripts that are ready for video generation, which is the ones I have just finished. So I guess
So
I
how
could,
many, how long does one, typically, what's the verbiage of one of these? Is
one of
it
these
like 3
scripts,
pages? Yeah,
like this long, that's the single script.
that's a byte.
That's a byte.
Okay, half a page.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll chew on that. I I just need to get in the groove here.
Yeah.
I do think that yeah, I'm on the I'm on the docket to do it. It was funny. Who was it? There was a guy. They're talking about the UK digital identity, and there was some guy talking to CNN. It was posted on LinkedIn, and so the person is speaking to CNN, so they're talking to the public, and
Mhm.
so same thing that we were talking about, mentioned about that we have a governance issue, and the government, and he mentioned that rules about the pitch. So I'll have to. I think soccer is gonna, or football
Right.
is gonna be the best.
Gonna be a good,
Um,
yeah.
yeah. Well, and we have yellow cards and red cards and things like that. That's governance in action. So
Yeah. I think that's a good
it's not
analogy.
my it's not my primary sport.
But
You know.
globally popular.
There you go. Well, it's right now baseball is very popular in America and in Canada. And in Canada,
And
yeah.
Japan,
I
apparently.
loved, I'll say it publicly now. I love that uh that the Blue Jays, destroyed the Yankees. I've been a lifetime Yankee hater. So there you go. I grew up in New York. My dad and my brother were big Yankee fans, so I was a Met fan. So anyway, and the Mariners are still in it, thank God. And so anyway, I'll do that. And is there anything else that on a bite-sized trust that we need to talk about, or then maybe
Uh,
we could
yeah,
talk.
no, I'm fine with ending early. Just then let me check this script with you.
Okay, let's do
I'm
that.
gonna read it out. So because I thought the key pre-rotation was perhaps a good script to stick your fact in about. So keys in digital identity come in pairs, a private key and a public key. You keep the private key secret, usually stored in a secure digital wallet. The public key, on the other hand, is meant to be shared, for example, by publishing it in a DID document so that others can use it to verify you. With these keys, you can do powerful things. You can authenticate yourself online and log into services without passwords. You can also digitally sign documents, such as a university signing degrees for its graduates, and anyone can check that signature against the public key. But there's a catch. If your private key is ever compromised, maybe your wallet gets hacked or the storage system is tricked, your identity could be at risk, meaning that someone could impersonate you online. That's why it's good practice to rotate your keys, retire the old one, and start using a new one. In DID systems, these updates are recorded in the DID document, may be recorded in the DID document. No, they are. The latest update is recorded in the DID document so that anyone resolving the DID knows which key is current. Still, that raises the problem. What if an attacker steals your key and performs the rotation before you can? Suddenly, they look like the rightful controller of the DID, and you can't reclaim control because the system now trusts their key. This is where key pre-rotation comes in. With pre-rotation, every time you create a key, you also generate the next one in advance. Instead of publishing the full future key, you publish cryptographic digest, a commitment to the key you'll use next. Later, when you rotate, you reveal the actual key, and anyone can check that it matches the digest you committed to earlier. Where this pre-rotation data is stored is specific to each DID method and is not part of the DID core specification. With some methods like DID WebS and DID WebVH some some DID methods like DID WebVS and DID WebVH support pre-rotation and others do not. With key pre-rotation, even if someone compromises your current private key, they can't hijack your DID because they don't know the next key you've already committed to. Where supported, pre-rotation makes key rotation predictable and tamper-resistant, securing DIDs against takeover.
Okay, the whole thing is well written. And it's fine. You stick to the point, which really was that I like the most is if someone compromises your key, could they become you and do key rotation and hijack your key pair?
Yeah.
And that was the main point of the key of the pre-rotation, the way it's done in carry
Yeah.
is to prevent that. That was well, I got it clearly.
Okay.
So I don't, I don't have any issue with that. So
We should have another script then going into security risks.
Well, I would say, security risk, I don't know about that. I don't know if
Okay.
it's the word security, because one is security, which is someone, can steal or own your private key. The other is I can lie.
Yeah.
And but both need to be done. And the payload, I think that maybe that's a whole thing about it. I don't know. Maybe you chew about whether you need a
Yeah.
whole bite side around,
Okay.
how do you deal with, you have all this capability, but you still can lie. And
Yes.
how,
Okay. That's a good, so I started on, because there's lying about the content and lying about who you are or whatever. So I have started working on introducing, yeah, so my script, very early point form for trust registries is Alice claims that she's a university and she presents a DID claiming that claims to be the university, and then she signs herself a fake degree from that university. And everything is internally consistent, as you had said. All the cryptography works out. However, the society in general does not recognize her fake make it up university as having the qualifications. So how do we, this is where the cryptography systems of trust meet the governance systems of trust.
correct.
And
Yeah.
then trust registries are one way to solve this problem, because, and then to talk about how it solves it by having a governance structure around identities that are claimed.
Yeah. So, you can, and if you need a little more research around that, I do think the C2PA is a very digestible trust registry example.
Okay. Are you by chance following trust over IP's trust registry stuff?
No.
Okay.
And the reason for that, well, yes and no. I mean, conceptually, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But the trust registry query protocol and all of that is not baked in yet.
Okay.
So, we're at just like I have in the
You
past,
have to deliver.
I'm moving forward with things that can work. Right now,
Yeah.
we put something out there and people and systems can't recognize it. Right now, the way the ecosystem of C2PA works is validators check they check the cert,
Okay.
and
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you're on
they check
a
yeah, and they
the
check whether the
hierarchical.
cert, yeah, they check whether the, and And we're still in an interim period with the C2PA.
Yep.
We have an interim, and I think January 1st is going to be a major, it's gonna change the way the conformance program works within the C2PA, because right now, you don't have to be on the official trust list to use the CR icon and validate your generation of content credentials. At January 1st, you won't be able to do it using the current spec. It won't, and it'll be frozen in time. So going forward, you have to use the official trust list. Right now, there is an interim trust list that exists until January 1st.
Okay, so this is really interesting. I wanted to, if I'm talking about how do you verify identity, I can talk about the concept of trust registries and stuff like that. And like you said, the trust registry from Trust over IP is not baked yet. It's meeting certain requirements, so I could do a video about the possibilities of that. But I could also do a video that is the reality of the current situation. So when you say you're using, can you teach me a bit more about certs in PKI? Like, who is the overarching governance authority that is recognizing C2PA?
Okay. Okay.
Here we go.
Hold on a second. I'm gonna, and people can chime in. I'll get you the slide.
And then I can see what I can learn about that, and if there's a story there that I think would work, that I could tell with bite-sized trust.
Yeah, hold. I need to just get the right slide. Now I had other slides popping up.
Yeah. Yeah, so I've got the next 5 ready, the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 scripts with videos, and I have to edit one of them. And then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 scripts that are ready to start into production as well. Key pre-rotation, did service endpoints, where do you store private keys, and hybrid storage and social recovery for private keys.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna show 2 slides.
Okay.
Let me share.
Teach me about real
How
world.
it's set up. Okay. All right, so you can see on your slide, it says plan from interim conformance. This is how the current C2PA conformance program works.
Yeah.
So we have a governance authority, and that is the steering committee of the C2PA.
Yeah.
They make decisions, their overall responsibility. They sign legal agreements with participants. Okay, and those are governed parties at the bottom here. Okay,
Yeah.
so governed parties want to participate in the ecosystem, and they contract with the governing authority to do so.
Yeah.
And the governing authority empowers the administrating party, and the administrative party acts as a proxy for the
They're the ones
governing
who do the work.
authority, and that's the conformance task force of the C2PA. Okay, I act as the administrator, which is a contractual role, as performing administration activities on behalf of the conformance task force, which then is also responsible for the C2PA governing authority. And we act, and we've created the program, and we have a governance framework and conformance criteria that we hold governed parties accountable against. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that's one slide that explains it. The other is, this is the trust diamond. Okay. The trust diamond shows the 3 roles, governed parties. We have 3 governed parties. We have a certification authority, we have a generator product, and we have a validator product. These are 3 roles that come and they sign legal agreements to participate in this ecosystem. And so the roles that they play as a certification authority issues X509 signing certificates based on the certificate policy of the program to
Okay.
generator products.
Can you
So
teach me a bit more about X509? Because so as my first impression is that X509 is a hierarchy of keys. Somebody's got the at the top of the pyramid, and then they say that these subsidiaries can sign and they may delegate to further subsidiaries, but it comes back to the recognition at the top of the chain.
Correct. So the key aspect, so an X509 certificate is really a container to create, and in the container is the public key.
Yep.
Okay. And it has properties on what kind of certificate it is.
Yep.
And it has links to a chain of endorsement. Okay.
So the endorsements are other people endorsing me or me endorsing other people?
It's other authorities, certification authorities that
Okay.
are endorsing the trust of the LEAF certificate. The LEAF certificate. So if I want, let's say I have a set of keys, just like you had mentioned, let's say a product. Okay, a product is the lowest set. The generator product is the
Yeah.
lowest set, and they get a LEAF certificate that
Yep.
they can use to sign content credentials.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
So the generator product generates a key pair. Okay. And
Yep.
they encapsulate their public key. Okay.
Yep.
They leave
Share the
that
private.
private key where that private key needs to be, but
Yep.
they encapsulate the public key in a CSR, a certificate signing request
Okay.
to a endorser in the trust chain. So CSR gets created by the generator product and gets submitted to a certification authority that all they do is sign it. They sign that request, adding and endorsing the trust and creating a chain so
Okay.
that the generator product is now affiliated with the certification authority in
Right. So
two ways.
so you've picked up signatures on the thing. Now, just as an aside, I'm Alice, duplicitous Alice, and I'm going to set up my own certificate authority, which I'm going to call C2P small a. And
Right.
I'm going to have all the signatures according to the specification, but I will lack the endorsements.
Yes. You
How
will
do
lack
I
the
find?
endorsement.
Yeah,
Right. Perfect.
how do I find the list of endorsements? Because I could, depending on, I mean, they've got pig butchering, crypto sites, prison complexes set up in Malaysia, pouring like billions of dollars through in these
Right.
scams. There's enough
Well,
money there that I could give myself like 50 fake endorsements from 50 different certificate authorities.
right. So it's right on this chart right here.
Okay.
A
Yeah.
validator's job is to validate, well, they do a bunch of things, but they validate the trust chain of certificates. Okay.
Can
So a
I
validator
validate right
goes
now?
into,
How do
yes,
I
that
find
happens.
it?
So a
How do I know
validator,
yeah.
how do you
Sorry.
do it? So if you go into a content credential has been signed by a C, by
Yep.
using a certificate signed by a CA. Okay,
Yep.
the CA issues that LEAF certificate
Yep.
and basically the certificate is the encapsulation of the public key with the endorsement.
Yeah.
Okay? So, and that's part of the certificate. So the validator product looks at the issuer of that endorsement, and through the chain, so the X509 certificate has chaining abilities to go to a root.
Right.
So it is a linked process. So the X509 certificate has the entire linkage from the leaf certificate to the root. Okay.
Right. Yep.
And so
Yep.
the root gets checked by the validator product, as you're looking here, on a CA trust list.
Okay.
That's the way the.
Do I have a URL for the CA trust list?
Yes.
So I have to know so the CA trust list, does it list all kinds of certification authorities, not just the C2PA, but many others as well?
On the CA trust list, there's only and let me stop sharing and I'll share it again. The trust list of the C2PA only has CA intermediates and roots, and I'll show you where that is. Okay, let me just pop that up. And and this is public, if you go to the conformance program, matter of fact, I'll do that online here so everyone can see it. Let me so everyone has so let me share now. Back to my screen. Okay. Now you can see this is the C2PA public page. C2PA, you can go to c2pa.org, but this is the tab conformance.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. It tells you about the conformance program. And if you want more information, program details.
Yeah.
Okay. That's where you go. It goes to the GitHub site for our public repository.
Right.
And in the public repository, we have all of the products that have passed the conformance program in JSON.
So is this your root of trust here?
This is these are the trust registries. Okay. This is
Okay,
trust
on GitHub.
this is what's actually happening, not design. So if I go to conforming products, I have JSON records based on record IDs.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a trigger. Okay. That record ID is baked in to these products. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's how that validators will know, or certification authorities will know. It's because certification authorities have to issue certificates only to these record IDs, which are attached to products.
Yeah.
Generator products, not validator.
Right.
We have validator products on this as well, but you go to generator product and the UUI and the record ID. And the CAs are obligated to only issue C2PA conformant certificates to products, record IDs, and generator product that have generated products. Okay. Now, if I go to trust list, public, still public, we have timestamp authorities and we have CAs.
Right.
If I go there, all it is a list. You see a list of certificates. These are X509 certificates. Right. And it's machine readable, but we made it, at least we put the subject in so you know who we're talking about. But this is machine readable. And in essence, you can take this certificate and you could put it through some linting or some kind of decoder, that will tell you, here's a decoder, you put it in, you paste it in, and then, oops.
Not that one.
I don't know how that didn't work very well. I thought I did a cut and paste, but
sometimes it doesn't.
But at the end of the day, I think it's difficult because it's online. But anyway, it go back in there. Yeah, because I I would have to edit the file in order to copy it. But if you do that, then all of the details of the
Try it
certificate
again,
comes up.
try it again. I think you don't even need to edit the file because I do that. It should work.
Okay.
Hit like Control C like
Try
4
it.
times.
Okay, let's try it. Now you can see the certificate. Copy it. I don't know. Make a additional. And let me
Oh,
go
CRS
here for the
decoder.
decoder.
Yeah.
Should,
There
there
you
we go. Now it's in there. You have to put the
Yeah.
beginning and the end, and then you decode, and then magically you'll see all of the details, the certificate summary, because it's reading that. There's Google Media Services, and you have a
Right.
common name. You have a bunch of identifier fields within the X509 certificate, and
So-
you have the actual public key. So
Okay,
you have
okay.
fingerprints and you
There's-
have a whole bunch of things.
Hold on, hold
that
on,
have
hold
been
on.
here.
There's a bunch of magic that just happened here.
Right. Well,
So-
here's the magic. Here's the actual certificate, created.
Okay, so the certificate, so when you're showing me the conformance thing, that's a copy of the key, but the key itself is part of a certificate, part of
It's
another
not the key, it's the
infrastructure.
certificate.
Okay,
It's
sorry.
they're root certificates.
Does the certificate contain the key?
It does.
Okay,
It contains, here's your,
Right. And-
basically the
And
public
red,
key.
and okay, is Red Kestrel accessing a database of all kinds of certificates, not just C2PA certificates, but all kinds of other.
What it
CA.
is doing, it's parsing the X509 structure and identifying where all, what are the attributes of the X509. So X509 has a specific structure with specific fields, like here, version number,
Right.
serial number. All of these are required fields. Okay. And here's your public key right here. Boop, there it
Yep.
is.
Yeah,
Here's your public key of the issuer. Here's the issuer, and here's the root. Okay, they have the C2PA root here, and it shows the validity period. Okay, usually it's, for a root, it's extended. So here, we're talking, 5 years. So they have a 5-year cert here. Okay, and here are a bunch of policies that have to match the certificate policy of the C2PA, and we check that. We don't allow, we don't allow certs to go on the trust list unless they meet these requirements. And, they have what's called, OIDs and policy numbers, which are tied to external databases. There are external databases which, from a machine language stuff, identify what these numbers are. So email protection, for example, is in machine language this object identifier. Okay.
Right.
And so, and there's all these fields that have to be in a certain way. I'm not I just I'm an auditor of this. My knowledge is around auditing of this. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
But that's the key. And so, they have to have certain algorithms with certain sizes. Here's 384 around it. There's the certificate policy of the C2PA guides what is allowable from a security and an identification standpoint. Okay.
Okay, so that
So-
certificate that you just copied right there.
Yeah.
That is not just the key, that is the whole certificate information encoded into a single file. And
Correct.
then,
It's
and then
machine
that
readable.
certificate there is decoded and displayed in your CSR decoder. So all the data
Right.
is shown in this certificate here. Okay.
Right. And because you're going to need more than just the key to identify that it is
Yeah.
properly here. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Because in essence, it has to meet certain other requirements that the CHPA puts in. So for example, it has, going back to here, there are certain properties that are only C2PA. So a C2PA, it says, we talk about certificate policies, that's very specific to the C2PA. And they also have a very specific, these, well, a root can, sign it, and they can sign CRLs. A leaf certificate, so this is roots, right? That's a root. Now, when a product, going back to the conformance program and going to a conforming product, okay? So we have a conforming product, let's say it's Google Pixel camera, very famous, right?
Yeah.
The Google Pixel camera, okay, asks Google, because they're the CA, they
Yeah.
say, okay, my camera has a key pair we just generated, okay? We request a signing request to the Google CA, and the Google CA endorses it and puts it back into the camera. So when the camera takes a picture and creates the content specification signed with that private key that it had in the camera, endorsed by the CA, that information is known. So a validator comes in and says, okay, let me validate that signature. And what it'll do is it will go to the trust list and see if the Google CA is a valid endorser.
Okay, so question, your trust list. So if I were to hack your GitHub account and I were to edit those certificates, the dot, then that I would,
if you were able to get in here or get in here.
Yeah. So this is
if you were able to add your CA in here,
right? Okay.
That's a risk. That's an absolute risk. There's no question about that.
And the other thing I could do is I could clone your repo and give it a slightly different name and try and look like you.
That's a risk.
So how do people know that this repo is correct and my cloned faked repo is not?
That's a question that's beyond my technical.
Yeah. Okay.
ability.
Yeah. No, and I mean, this is so I like 509.
My sense is, and I don't have the answer because
Yeah.
someone will review this and say Scott was not telling you things.
Yeah.
The thing is that this information, this place right here, this GitHub, it has to be there. Now, there's two things. You mentioned two attempts at attacking it, which is change this to Carly's trust list.
Yeah.
Okay. Validators look at this one. So there would be a problem with that.
Yeah.
Now you could do it. I would say you could try to fake the world out. Okay.
Yeah.
But it would take some validators, you'd have to have a,
well, I'm missing endorsement.
You'd have to have a validator problem. Now, if you had a validator that did that, hopefully the conformance program wouldn't allow you to put that validator on this list, right?
Yeah.
We have validators here. I know there's a,
there's right. Okay.
There's Adobe. Where is he?
Okay. And then
there's Adobe.
and that's
Adobe's
where
here.
that's because
Adobe is a validator product. Adobe Content Authenticity Inspect.
Yeah, I see that. And then that one is knows to come back. That's kind of like how the web browsers have all the content authorities embedded in the web certificate authorities embedded. They get sent out with the web browser. So I never have to do anything. I just have a web browser and someone else has picked the CAs to put in my automatic.
Right. Well, it actually is located on your device. So if
Right,
you
okay,
go to
yes, yes.
Content
Yeah,
Manager, you'll
yeah,
have all the trusted routes embedded, because there's two pieces. There's the encryption for web traffic happens from your client system to the website. So
yeah,
the client system needs to know what the lists of trusted routes are. So
yeah,
instead of having this, like in the C2PA, we have it in the cloud. In client software, you at least Microsoft does this. You have it
yeah,
directly on the system. But yes, all browsers have their own. There's not one set of routes for
yeah,
browsers. Each browser either uses someone else's or use their own. So there's
yeah,
about 4 or 5 root programs that manage routes, just like we're managing routes, right?
yeah,
At the C2PA. Okay.
yeah. Okay. Okay, and then yeah. Okay. Now I'm gonna take this
So
and I'm
in
gonna think
order,
about it.
right. So, at the end of the day, you could create your own trust list and try to get that done. And I think it would fail on the validation.
Yeah,
You could try to get through and get access rights,
yeah,
and right now, if I was, for the most part, I do not have direct access
yeah,
to change
yeah,
this. This
yeah,
happens
yeah,
um, as a staged process with a controlled conformance program.
yeah,
Okay, I can't put things directly out here without involving at least one other person. So I
yeah,
have to have collusion. Typically, that's a reduction of risk that most conformance
yeah.
programs are accept.
And
Even in certificate policy management, they require multiple people to be in
yes,
collusion. So can
right.
you? Yes, but it
Yeah,
requires, a
yeah. It's all about
more
mitigating,
more
increasing.
intended effort to deceive.
Yeah. And the other risk would be government coercion of because perhaps the government wants to put out propaganda that's all signed as content authentic.
Right. Well, and I'm going to stop sharing. So the other issue or things that we're dealing with. So in the C2PA world, we're only managing products. Okay,
Yeah,
you just sort of validate a product and generate a product. That's
yeah,
it. We're not talking about identity and
yeah,
at all.
yeah,
And that happens because the C2PA doesn't want to do that. They've
yeah,
punted that to the
yeah,
cog. And the question comes down to, and we've been wrestling that within the cog, is we do not have a governance program over issuers
yeah,
of identity certs, X509 at least, because that's up and going right now. That's in the
yeah.
spec, and organizations have their own trust list. So the International Press Coalition, IPTC, has a list of issuing CAs that issue identity certs to organizations. So
Hmm.
that in certain programs, that's checked to
Yeah.
see if you're a legitimate, press organization. If you're,
Right, right.
you know, you know, car, Carly's Camera Company would
Yeah,
make it. They would fail validation on the IPTC trust list, which
right.
is
Okay.
independent.
Yeah,
So now you're saying trust lists are, they're a mechanism to validate approved
yeah,
public certs.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, so there's a huge opportunity I can see for the for trust registry technology to come out that lets more easy endorsements at peer level, etc., in order to
Right.
build networks of bigger trust. Yeah.
It's happening. It's happening today because you're dealing with right now with websites that they use it, and
Yeah.
other, X509 uses it because it's been done for many years.
Yeah.
And next year, you're gonna see the EU trust list also
Yeah.
become
Yeah.
more prevalent. And the
Yeah.
question all comes down to, and it may require a lot of these trust lists to go out and then say, can we tie them together? And that's when the trust registry query protocol will
Yeah.
need to potentially be modified to interlink all of these together.
So,
But I think they're all going to germinate independently to
yeah.
solve their own means first.
Yeah.
And then for interoperability, there'll be a push.
So
to
Drummond, for the
incorporate something.
trust registry, the trust registries of that trust over IP is, working on the syntax, the functionalities for. That
Correct.
embeds more functions than the current the current like X509 certificate functionalities.
Well, it manages, the fields that trust registries need to have in order for it to be generically recognized by other.
Yeah.
So it's taking the validation processes that C2PA is using,
Hmm.
and others are using it and coming up with a generic scheme so that you have a generic validation process to validate whether a record should or shouldn't be on a trust registry, or validate if a record is on a trust registry, what do you do with it?
Yeah.
So
Okay. Yeah.
so it's looking at an abstraction one level higher. Hopefully, these trust registries that exist, and I've shared that with the trust registry group. I've shared the root programs with them. Hopefully, the embedded community, protocol can accommodate these things. I have also shared with the C2PA that this is happening. So I do think there's going to be some kind of compromise at some point, if that's needed,
Yeah.
where C2PA will have to change its structure
Hmm.
to meet a higher protocol, and the protocol has to change to meet what's out there in many different places.
Okay.
So we're
Drummond?
not there yet. We're not there yet. And the fact is that trust over IP needs to get the query protocol out, and someone needs to mandate that it's used so that C2PA we can all work towards it. That's happening, and so you have organizations like the UN that are trying to say this is what everybody should be doing. But in lieu of that, organizations like the C2PA are just moving forward and doing what they think is best for their needs. So I do think today in the C2PA, whatever they're doing is fine. There may be additional fields or different things that need to be added to each record to make it extensible for some query
Mhm.
protocol. That's just my conjecture.
Drummond?
Yeah, as usual, Carly's questions always give me new ways to look at stuff. Scott, it strikes me that there's there's a perfect opportunity for a paper here, either from Trust RIP or Digital Governance Institute, that basically says, hey, contrast, this is what X509 infrastructure is capable of, and designed for, and this is what trust registry and decentralized trust registry, in other words, we don't say you choose one or the other. We say, hey, this was designed to solve these kinds of problems, and this was designed to do these things. And
Yeah.
how do the two fit together?
Yeah. I think that would be really valuable. If
Amazing piece, because
if I actually knew what they did, I could help write that. But I can ask you all the hard
Well,
questions.
you asked the
Well, we
question.
did.
to think about these things and go, how do we explain this? I love it. But honestly, Scott is one of the few people in the world that has the expertise on both sides of that to go, oh, okay, well, this,
Yeah.
X509 is really designed to do these things, and trust registry infrastructure and trust RP is designed to be able to do these things. How do these things two fit together? I mean, for instance, X509 never anticipated DIDs. That's a simple way to put it. Whereas TRQP basically assumes, well, you don't have to use DIDs, but it's designed to take advantage of the full power of DIDs. That's the shortest, that's one
Yeah.
of the contrast. But anyway, it
Well,
just
it's
seems so.
amazing that you asked for that white paper because it already exists.
Did you?
Okay.
There you go.
Okay, I'm gonna read that link, but while Drummond is here before the end of the meeting, I just wanted to share my screen again with oh, not that screen, this screen. Okay. Now I hate this. Now, for whatever reason, Zoom makes all the people I'm talking to disappear, so I can't see anyone now. So in here, I have the scripts with videos, which I just posted into the not Slack, into Discord. So I've got the controller. So these are ready to release, and then Drummond had the recommendation. So I, instead of broadcasting, I'm saying you're sending your password over the internet, and I'm not getting into the details of the encryption and stuff that exists there already. And then I have added a little bit about DIDs. And then there is the next step: decentralized identifiers, or DIDs. DIDs resolve to DID documents which contain public keys, service endpoints, and other metadata. Instead of just handing over a key, you give a DID. The site resolves it to the associated DID document that contains your. That's okay. Working on that.
Yeah, but you addressed both points. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I need to re-record that. But other than that, I have had multiple people look over these scripts
Oh, great.
already.
That was
So
it. I had one yesterday. I had so much to do. I said, I'm going to pick one and give you feedback on that one. That was it.
okay, yeah. So I will re-record that, rebuild it. And Scott, what was your opinion of the simple picture where I just had one picture and not anything else really, where I wasn't jumping the images, or should I stick in more images?
It doesn't matter with the images or not. I
Yeah.
think if it explains it, it explains it,
Yeah. Okay.
It's so quick, it's.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so then those ones are going to be, I'm going to start dribbling them out through October. And then the next scripts for fact checking is I've got the next scripts ready, for fact checking: key pre-rotation, did service endpoints, where do you store private keys, and hybrid storage and social recovery. Because I'm like, oh, keep your private key safe. Well, where do I stick it and stuff like that?
Oh, that's such a good, rich topic. That's a hard one for bite-sized trust, but everything's got to get broken down. And so that's a good one.
Okay, yeah. So then I got like edge storage and cloud storage, and then many digital wallets combine both. Is that true? I think it is. I don't know that many did. Well, yeah, that the ones that I'm familiar with do both. They store the key on your device, but back it up with encrypted recovery shares in the cloud. So then you get control on the edge, resilience in the cloud. Lose the
Well,
keys, lose the identity.
let me just say, there are not many that do recovery shares in the cloud. There's a
Okay.
bunch that do recovery from the cloud, but
Okay.
the recovery shares in the cloud, which is social recovery, is
Yeah.
not widely.
Okay.
Recovery from the cloud.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah, there are a lot of them that do that.
Okay. Okay. Yeah,
Yes.
and then I'm gonna go into hybrid storage and social recovery.
Oh, you're going to cover. So, okay, there you go.
Yeah. Imagine splitting your recovery key into pieces and giving one share to a few trusted friends or devices you own. No single person can unlock identity, but if you collect enough shares, say 3 out of 5, you can reconstruct the key and recover your DID. This way,
Right.
you're not relying on only on a cloud provider, and you're not left stranded if your phone dies. Hybrid storage with social recovery blends convenience, resilience, and trust, making decentralized identity practical. And I give no examples of who's doing what.
Good. This is good. You're getting seriously good at this.
So
Nice.
thank you. I just think about what the hell do I need to know now? And then I'm like, I don't know that. And then off I go.
Yeah. Good. Good. Excellent. Oh, I
Okay.
realize I'm supposed to host another meeting now, so
Yeah. Okay.
I gotta
Uh,
jump. This is
thank you.
great. Sorry.
I'm gonna make the changes, and then I'm gonna start putting those up in October, and then they'll be ready for the symposium.
Fantastic.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks. Bye.
Awesome.
Okay.
Bye.